All righty, welcome in everybody to Sportsify. We are continuing in our division previews. Matt will be joined us in just a moment. And Jameson, I'm just gonna give you the keys. You know who we are, and we're just gonna go
hmm
because you have the NFC East. Take it away, dude.
Yeah, so looking at the NFC East this year, we've talked about this ad nauseum. I think the first thing that comes to mind is the lack of Micah Parsons here in this division now. So we'll end up working our way up there. I do kind of want to take a slightly different approach. I'm going to kind of go from bottom up this time around, and then we'll chat about each one of those teams once I've kind of hit on each one of them, and
Okay,
because
cool.
ultimately some of these teams aren't quite maybe what we were expecting them to be coming into this regular season here. Um, Let's start with the Giants. Ultimately, I think this is going to be the fourth place team in this division in the NFC East. Really solid defense. Really like what they did on the defensive side of the ball last year, let alone this year. Abdul Carter, I think, is going to be an absolute menace
hmm
in New York. And if there's anything to hang your hat on right now, it is going to be the defensive side of the ball. That's not to say that there isn't some Jackson Dart hype, and obviously Malik Neighbors is a dude, and we
hmm
like some of those things that are happening there. I just don't think that that offense is going to be quite ready to do what it needs to do. You bring in Russell Wilson, a vet, throw up a couple moon balls, see what you can do. We've kind of seen the decline of Russ over the past few years, so you're kind of trying to climb uphill in the NFC East here. Even with the Cowboys being what the Cowboys are now, minus a Micah Parsons, you're going to have a bit of an uphill battle. And I do know, and maybe I just not registering for me. Maybe you guys will have different opinions here. There are some folks out there that have this like, oh, the Giants could be kind of sneaky, and maybe they're buying a little bit more into this Jackson Dart hype than maybe I am. But whenever I look at their schedule, and I don't want to always just go be a schedule watcher because things can change, but like I just don't necessarily see where those wins are for people who are thinking they're going to be the sneaky team this year. That's my thing, especially with Russ or a rookie Jackson Dart who is just going to need a little bit of time there. And their defense is good, but it's not good enough quite yet, I think, to be the decider in a lot of these games. So I ultimately, looking back, last year the Giants were a team who were 3-14. They were 1-8 at home. I highlighted and bolded that number here. That is not good, in case anybody's wondering,
Nope.
winning one game at home. Um, and then they were 2-7 on the road. And so again, I don't see where those wins are. And if you can't win games at home, even as a poor team, I just don't see those happening. I ultimately, with their over under being at 5.5 this year, I still am fading them a little bit. I have them at 4 wins this year. Again, solid defense, fun pieces. I just don't see the wins in the schedule. And so I have them coming in at fourth place. Do you guys have any thoughts
Well,
before we move
I
along from the
they
Giants
have
here?
the hardest schedule in terms of win
yeah,
percentage. It's
it's
the
it's the
hardest.
AFC. Yeah, it's the what is it? It's the AFC West and the
Mhm.
NFC North, and they're the worst team in their division, right? Like
Yeah.
as far as actually like quality players.
Mhm.
So like that is a hard schedule. It is a hard schedule.
Yep. Yeah.
I
Even if you're
there's
good, it's a
no
hard schedule.
even
Yeah.
if
No.
you're good, that's a
It's
hard
true.
schedule.
Yeah.
It's true.
But I will say I do like for the future the way they are building this team. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're talking they're getting some key pieces in here. They got a young neighbors. They got they've got Abdul Carter coming
Yep.
in. They got Thibodeau coming off as a rotational pass
hmm
rusher. Their
Dexter
defensive line
Lawrence.
looks fun. Dexter Lawrence is coming in. Like they're building this team in a great way, but they're just not there yet. I love Scadaboo as well. Like give me Scadaboo all day long. I love that kid.
Low
Like
key, yes.
he is a bruiser, and like you're like this is what we want our team to be, but
Mhm.
they're just not there yet. And I agree with you. They're just not there. They're just
And
not.
and
Yeah.
Jackson Dart was pretty impressive in his
Was
preseason
absolutely
games.
kind of
Like
yeah, low key
he
impressive.
very was. So you're hopeful,
Maybe not quite ready, but
but you're
definitely looking to the
hopeful
future.
and
And
you're
you're like, wow,
excited.
this could be it next year. Like we could really have a guy next year. I
hmm
think that's kind of the way they look at it.
hmm
Yeah.
Matt?
And
I'm yeah,
oh, go for it, Matt.
I was just say I'm locking step with Jameson here in terms of it's not about necessarily where they're at. It's about who they're playing and where those teams are at.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
hmm
this team is, I love. I actually will disagree a little bit with Jameson. I love Jackson Dart. He is going to replace Russ quick. If you look at
Oh, I don't
projections
disagree
on
there.
on Yahoo and ESPN. He has right now, today, I think he's at 27 more projected points on the season. So that would mean we're looking at somewhere around like week 7 or 8. Like they give Russ an honest shot because of his veteran status, but they seem to know what they have in Jackson Dart. He could end up being the best quarterback in the class. Like,
yeah, you wait to start him in
all the things. Like he could.
You wait to start him until the Eagles are done, right? Because they play the Eagles twice before week 8. So you wait to start him until the Eagles come out, then
so
start him against the Niners or something.
Season.
Yeah.
But you're not wrong, dude. Like when you look at the schedule, I can see 3 wins that they can take. I feel good about right now. And then they're going to have to, accidentally beat somebody that's good.
And they will. They probably will.
Yeah.
But they're good enough to do that. I just think they're going to be good enough to do it with Jackson Dart.
Yeah, my concern with Dart was some of his down the field passing numbers in the preseason, which again, preseason, take it with a grain of salt to an extent, but his completion percentage below 5 yards versus over 5 yards was pretty. There was a pretty big gap there. But he made some nice plays. He's
athletic.
Threaded the needle on a few of those. He's a big guy, so I think they have a bright future. But again, for me, I just don't see the wins. But they're not going to be a fun. Like that's still going to be a team where you can't necessarily, especially if you're an offensive guy, you can't just like wake up and say you're like the Chiefs or the Chargers or even like the Broncos, like those kinds of teams in the AFC West. You can't look at that matchup in your schedule and be like, oh, we're playing the Giants this week, like we don't really have to get up for this one. Like they're going to want to beat the crap out of you. So
they're going to sneak up on you. Yeah, if you're not
it's not going to be a fun game. I think the Jets, as we've talked about previously, are going to be kind of similar to that extent. That's not going to be a fun game. Like that's going to be one where you're hitting the ice bath a little bit afterwards. You're like, thank God that game is over so we can get into the next week. But Dayball, I think, assuming that the season goes how I think it's going to be, which again, there's no expectation. I think he bought himself some time here.
Oh,
Matt.
no, I'm done.
I think so.
I'm done.
I think him bringing in Jackson Dart, I think
got himself some time.
I feel like he finally
worst decision ever last year.
I don't disagree, but you bought yourself time because no one's going to expect you when you look at the schedule and when you've drafted a quarterback, no one's expecting you to win any games. This is how you extend your job in the NFL.
I think too, he finally has say for his team. This feels more fine. Like he was forced into the Daniel Jones thing. Like that was not his thing. That was what he was forced to essentially try and plan around.
Saquon Barkley.
That's not Dayball. That's not all Dayball.
Bro, you don't think that he was did you see the stupid episodes with their GM who doesn't look like he has thoughts in his head where he thinks...
Was Dayball in the room? No, he wasn't. He wasn't in the room for that. He wasn't. If you're the clip you're talking about, he was not in the room.
He was not in the room for the one time they caught him on camera saying what he said. But if you don't think Dayball doesn't have a massive amount of say-so on who goes in and out of that place, that's wild. Because that dude is a control freak. That is how he runs things. Bro has not been able to get it done, period. Like, nah, this is it. This is it. And I don't, he is not a guy. He's just not.
I don't disagree with that either, but I think that just with the nature of how things go.
Yeah, you draft a quarterback, you get a veteran, you save. I get it. I know the pattern.
It's also the Giants. They hang on to people just a little bit longer.
That's true.
They're a traditional conservative.
Except for Saquon,
I'm talking coaches.
Freaking $1 million for
it's stupid.
You should have paid that guy $15 million for 5 years. Like you should have kept him and never let him go.
49ers are going to pay Juwan Jennings like $18 million, so you just shut up and play number 2 or 3 wide receiver, and they won't give Saquon a dozen million or 10 million.
Yeah, no, and that's where again, all valid critiques. However, that's just how the Giants are going to roll. And unfortunately, if you are a Giants fan, future's bright, but you're probably stuck with Dayball, I think, probably for another. I think he's got probably a couple of years. Or if he doesn't get it done next year, then you're probably like, okay, we're going to the 26-27 season. Bye-bye.
Yeah. I agree.
That's how I feel.
But
I like still have them at 4 wins.
Coach number 2.
I like your 4 wins. I like your 4 wins.
Love the 4 wins.
Doesn't feel like a huge jump from a 3-14 season last year, but I think it's going to be a noticeably better team.
Yeah.
So now, Giants there, fourth place. I think we all feel pretty good about that. Third place. I had some notes before the Micah Parsons trade, and I have a couple of obvious things after the Micah Parsons trade. Before the Micah Parsons trade, here's what I still had about the Cowboys. I had them as an 8-9 team coming in right under the 8.5 over under for them this year. Because even with Micah Parsons, that defense is pretty horrendous.
Yes.
Like in reality, unproven head coach,
Also
big question
offensive
marks in the
coach
run game.
too, so he's not going to help that defense.
Exactly. And like the run game, who's going to tell me what that's looking like, and that's not how they're going to put points on the board. And we know that if Dak can get back to an MVP level, you've got CD Lamb, certifiable dude. You've got Pickens coming in there. This is going to be a pretty fun passing game if they can keep it all together. But the last piece that I had, just like in general with the Cowboys before this trade, was just like, this is a bad vibe scenario. And so that's why I was going 8-9. I was like, none of this is good, even if they figure out Micah Parsons. This is just like a bad vibes thing. And that doesn't typically spell success for you in the NFL. And now he's gone. And so I'm big time fading the Cowboys here. And maybe this is just because, as we all are on this podcast, we are Cowboys haters. I think that I'm going to pull an extra 2 wins away from that because I think Micah Parsons is worth at least 2 wins there. I think this is a Cowboys team, all things considered, with the things you're doing on the offensive side of the ball. If Dak can stay healthy, you got a passing attack. This defense is going to be so bad. I don't know, again, looking at their schedule, I don't know where you get more wins. I just don't. And I don't know how you stop anybody. This is the Bengals all over again, but like with a worse offense. And so I think right now the Cowboys are probably sitting at 6 wins, and that's where I have them. Matt, what do you think about the Cowboys this year?
Man, it's hard to disagree with what you just said. One of the things that really stands out to me about this roster, again, is the unit that you just discussed in the defense. They went through a draft process, took 4 guys, kept 4, I should say, this spring, and none of them are going to start off a team that already sucked. You couldn't find a better safety than Malik Hooker, or Donovan Wilson. You couldn't find another corner to come in and play for you when Diggs has given up insane amounts of yards. You didn't decide to just move on from that and decide the interceptions were worth it. You didn't think, Deron Bland's doing a great job. We paid him a bunch of money.
4-year, $92 million happened after the Micah Parsons thing falls through.
Yeah, we can maybe just use an extra corner here. They did go 6 deep. I'll give them that. They kept 6 corners. And they play a 4-3 over, and still kept 6 corners. Usually you only keep 5 because you keep a single nickel back and one guy that can fade to nickel or play one side or the other. So they did go, hey, we kind of suck, so we're going to keep 6. They do have a tremendous amount of players. They kept 26 defensive players. Okay, so they kept depth, but they don't have anything elite on that side of the ball. Nothing. There is not one position on defense where they are elite. They're going to get massacred. The team is going to give up 28, 29 points a game.
And look at this stretch as well at the end, starting in the end of November. This is all the way up at, minus the game, their last game of the regular season playing the Cowboys, Eagles, Chiefs, Lions, Vikings, Chargers, Commanders, all in a row. And then you have an away game versus the Giants, who are probably going to want to win that game against you. Like, that is the end of your season right there. And they don't win any of those games,
I would even say they did not, because they kept so much depth on the other side. My counterpoint to that on the offense was that they only have 4 wide receivers on the active roster. 4. Now, granted, 2 of them are CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, who, if he's taking his medication, will be okay. But genuinely, they only have 4. One of
Yep.
those guys, anybody gets hurt on the offensive side of the ball, this team is completely hosed. And I know that we all know what it means when Dak goes down. I will say having Joe Milton as your backup's a decent scenario. Seems to be everybody's pretty big on him as a backup. But dear God, dude,
Yeah.
if this team wins 8 games, I'll be shocked.
Starting
will
running
say-
back Javonte Williams, like
Cut from the Broncos.
Or Jaden Blue,
yeah.
maybe the rookie, maybe.
He
I will
may
say
win
their
that
offensive
job out,
line's
yeah.
good. I will say that this offensive line's good.
I like
offensive line is
I
good.
like Tyler Booker.
It's full
That
of
pickup.
it's like
Love Tyler Booker.
it's full of first round picks basically. I'm fine with this offensive line. The rest of the team, CeeDee Lamb,
Yep.
Pickens, great. Dak Prescott's going to get you a bunch of yards. You got nothing else.
Empty
nothing
calories.
By the way,
Empty
You
calorie
got
yards.
nothing else.
Guyton's hurt right now at left tackle.
Mm-hmm.
That's
He's
true.
Probably not starting week 1, maybe not week 2. Just throwing that out
But
there.
he'll be back. Yeah, but
he'll be back, and
yeah,
Guyton
the
is
line's
lazy.
going to be fine. Yeah,
But
And
they're going to
they picked
struggle
up-
out of the gate.
they picked up Cornelius from Oregon. They've got some backup rotations in there. Like the line will be okay. Dak Prescott knows how to get the ball out real fast when he needs to. I'm not
CeeDee
too
Lamb
worried
is a
about it.
fantasy monster again this year.
Yes.
You can
Yeah, yeah.
basically
Yes,
book that.
Absolutely,
Volume.
absolutely. And late round pick up Dak Prescott. He's going to get 4,000 yards this year. I mean, it's not going to mean anything, but he's going to get it just because
Yeah.
he's going to throw the ball all the time.
And you can
So-
take him between rounds 9 and 11
Yeah.
in standard draft.
Yeah.
No
And
problem.
here's my last thing I did want to say though. And I was actually thinking about this after kind of we had our Micah Parsons episode. I was out, I was taking the dog for a walk that night, and I was just thinking, and I was like, if the Cowboys are trying to justify this whole thing by, getting 2 first round picks from the Packers for Micah Parsons, and here's how we're going to rebuild, and we want this draft capital, we can use it, these first round picks for guys. If this team is that bad, the Rams are going to need a quarterback at some point within the next year or two. The Rams
don't
have
hate it.
extra first round draft picks. The Rams might not have a good enough draft pick to draft the quarterback that they want to in the first round. I would not be surprised if we have something at some point, probably in the offseason, but, pending Matthew Stafford health, I could see them saying, okay, well, we're going to blow it up. And it's tough to say as the Cowboys because Jerry Jones is Jerry Jones, and you can't read what that man is going to do besides be selfish and want to be the soap opera Cowboys. But if they want to try to, come back in Monday morning quarterback situation, this whole thing with Micah Parsons, and say, oh, we wanted the draft picks and that's why we're doing what we're doing. There's a team that I love that is going to need a quarterback probably at some point, who is going to have the draft capital, and a team who is going to stink and have a pretty good quarterback who says they want draft picks. So, not saying that's likely, but I'm just saying I wanted to say it now soon enough and get it out of the way. So if it comes back, we can clip this out and I can be right. But I just wanted to put that out there.
I mean,
That's really the only other thing I care to talk about with the Dallas Cowboys.
if you look around the rest of the league, there's not another team that really gives you that option that would be willing to let go of that guy in that timeline that works for the window you're discussing. So that does make sense. By the way, if Jerry Jones, which he's going to a million times over, starts talking about Herschel Walker trade in the next few weeks and tries to, when they're losing, when they're sucking, and he's like, well, we're gonna do exactly what we did back when we
Get
won
those
3
5
Super
picks
Bowls.
in that Herschel
We're
Walker
gonna get
trade.
those
Yeah.
picks. We're gonna trade them. They're good players. Blah 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 blah. Arkansas. No,
Arkansas.
dude,
Yeah.
You also don't have Jimmy Johnson there. I mean, honestly,
well, there's that. Yeah,
Coaching-
or the
Yeah,
evaluation.
coaching talking
Brian
right, like-
Schottenheimer.
Brian Schottenheimer's your dude. Like, come on, guys. Anyway, I like it. I like what you said.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
agree.
so-
completely.
I've got him at that 8 and 9. Also, sneaky thing last year that I think sometimes we forget. Cowboys 7 and 10 last year, 2 and 7 at home.
Yeah.
Not good. Not good.
Mhm.
All right. Now, second place in the NFC East, I have the Commanders. Last year, the Commanders 12 and 5.
By the
12 and
way,
5.
I'm more justice on this thing. Dan Quinn should have won Coach of the Year. Gosh dang it.
Yep.
Still on that. Justice for our boy. Anyway.
I might disagree, but he's definitely top 3 for me. 12 and 5 last year, 7 and 2 at home, 5 and 3 on the road. Pretty good for what that team was and the expectations we had for them. I will say this: they have at least last week when I made these notes, the newest record for the oldest 53-man roster in NFL history of 28.1 years old. That is something I don't love about this team right now.
I believe that was before cutdown.
Was it? Well, this was a 53-man roster.
I believe there's a couple factors because I think the Steelers elevated just slightly. So I think they're 1-2 either way. It's 1A, 1B.
Either way. Old is not good.
Yeah, either way. Old enough. And I think this was the first time, and again, maybe the Steelers have changed that now. The first time that it had eclipsed 28 years old as like the average age on a roster, which feels very opposite for where the Commanders are trying to go. And I know that defense is a bunch of patchwork, and you've got a guy on a rookie quarterback deal who's a stud, and so you can kind of afford to bring in some of those older players because you want to win now. But I personally think this is a slight regression year for the Commanders. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Jaden Daniels. I was pretty big on him coming out of college, and obviously did things that even I think all of us weren't expecting last season.
I don't think anybody really expected it.
Yeah, nope. Probably the biggest thing I didn't expect was a Cliff Kingsbury resurgence like that. I did not have that on my NFL bingo card last year.
And there was no dive like usually at the end of the seasons, like it is a tail off.
Exactly. And we were waiting for it. We're like, oh, just, this is nice, but let's just wait. And it never came. Now, that is something that ultimately I'm still looking at this year because now there is an expectation. There is a bit of a bullseye on your back. You bring in guys like Debo, who I think in that scheme can still do their thing. I personally find that Debo is past what Debo was. I don't know if you guys would both agree with that.
We agree.
From a Niner standpoint. The over-under for this team is 9.5, which feels low. But again, the more I looked into it, and as old as this roster surprisingly is at times, I actually had them in second place here, but at a 10-7 second place. And now maybe that changes. Maybe they don't split one with the Cowboys that maybe I thought because the Cowboys have plummeted a little bit. So maybe you could give them 11. But I have them here at 10-7. Mike, what do you think about the Commanders this year?
I think that's right on. I still think they're finding their identity, right? And I think that's a big deal. Dan Quinn's a great coach. Don't get me wrong. He's going to coach this team up. This defense is going to be, it's a patchwork, and we just said that, and it's going to be a struggle because you're going to have older players get hurt more often. It's just a fact of life. So you're going to have to make sure your rotation's coming in fresh. Jaden Daniels' tiny little skinny calf legs, they're like little toothpicks. It still scares me, right? Yeah. So I'm still waiting for that other shoe to drop. Is like, having a calf injury or an ankle injury or something. Really, when you have those skinny legs like that and you're in the NFL, one wrong hit and you're kind of done. But he moves so well and he doesn't take the big hit. So I think he's practiced enough. It's going to be okay. But I still think that second year regression for a lot of quarterbacks might happen here a little bit. Like you said, the other teams have tape now. They have a full year of tape on this guy.
We saw it with CJ Stroud.
Yeah, you saw it with CJ Stroud. You see it with all these other quarterbacks that come in. They're so good. But year two, they, even if it's just one step back. I like 10 wins here. I like number 2. I like them making the playoffs still. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
That defense isn't great.
It's tough.
And the NFC West defenses are going to be really good. So like in conference, we're looking at what's coming up for playoff prediction. So I'm like, yeah, they make the playoffs, but So yeah,
I mean, when I say these names, this is not a Pro Bowl roster. Okay.
Yeah.
These are people that are playing for this team right now. Von Miller, Bobby Wagner, Will Harris,
Marshawn
Lattimore.
Yeah, like that's
all starting on this team. Don't get me wrong, they still have Deron Payne, like awesome. But yeah, I mean, Matt Gay's their kicker. And then you go to the other side of the ball, and it's Debo, Laramie Tunsil. Zach Ertz is starting. Austin Eckler starting.
Yeah.
Gary Terry is nothing but consistent. Finally gave him some money. Good for him. We were for that contract collectively. Yes. Marcus Mariota and Josh Johnson are the backups.
Yeah.
Like, this team has some old dudes that a couple of them I didn't realize we're playing this year. Being real, I didn't know Josh Johnson made the roster. So, like, that's considerable when you think about it. So, yeah, it makes sense, man. I'm hyped on Jaden Daniels, though. I love him. Like,
yes,
I love that they signed
watching him play football.
Terry. I love that they signed Scary Terry and got that over with. Like they
Yes.
kept him, right? I love that you're taking.
Nobody deserved their deal more this year than him.
Absolutely. Yeah, he needed it,
Nobody.
and the team needed him, and it was perfect match. It sucks it took so long, but that happens.
And happy that he has a quarterback, like an actual
that's
now.
it.
Finally.
And the quarterback needed him.
Yeah.
Your quarterback needed him.
The one pushback here, though, right, Jameson, is the coaching aspect. I hit that earlier when we talked in an earlier episode. We talked about the Vikings and the importance thereof, the consistency of coordinators and coaching. And you have so much leadership on this team that while I agree that around 10 wins, when you just look at a roster and the names on it, makes sense. We also aren't going to be shocked if they eclipse that ceiling. Like none of us. If they make 12 wins, we aren't going to be shocked. That's not shock. Like, that's a team with those guys on it, and they stayed healthy. And that's going to be the key component because the coaching is there for sure. Mm-hmm. Dan Quinn is currently top 5 head coach in the NFL. Like, he is. With the job he did last year, he's there. Kingsbury is doing exactly what he's supposed to do. Stay there forever. No one let him
offensive coordinator. He's always been an offensive coordinator. Should have always been an offensive coordinator.
And that's it.
Yes.
Chip Kelly finally figured it out. Kingsbury should figure it out right now. But yeah, dude, like, I just think the coaching's there. So I'm not going to be shocked if they rise above. It's all about health. All about health.
And that to me is the balance. Like, to me, the 10 wins is, you have the quarterback, you have some of the skill positions even at their age, and you have the coaching, but the detractor of second year of film and age and just that defense in general gives me a little bit of pause. This is a team that I'm hoping is not the case, but is probably also my candidate for a team that could potentially fall off a cliff, because if something happens to Jane Daniels, his team's winning like 3 or 4 games. You know what I mean? Like,
but that's starting
you
quarterback.
Can't overcome that. Yeah. So there's probably the biggest disparity if you lose somebody, and they also just don't really have much depth like anywhere, truthfully, when you're like looking at their roster here. So that's a tough beat. That's a tough beat. But I do have them here at second place, and probably, not a surprise to anybody. The Eagles, I have first place here in this division. Last year, winning the Super Bowl, going 14-3. 8-1 at home, 6-2 on the road, just dominant on all phases. Just like you pull up their depth chart, and it's honestly like comical, like what their roster is looking like. Like we say it every year, Howie Roseman, like how do we get here? And for this team to kind of be contending in like a few different phases, going back to their like Nick Foles, Patriots Super Bowls and that coaching staff, and now looking where we're at here, there's just like, as an Eagles hater, it hurts to say, but it's like very undoubtable at this point for me, like with the Eagles going in. I would expect a slight regression just because you win a Super Bowl, and you don't want to put on the blinders and look at what the Chiefs have been doing and assume that can be done for every team. But the way that they're winning games, insane home field advantage, insane roster and depth. And again, the tush push didn't get banned, guys. So that is certainly, that's pretty helpful for them. I actually have them, their over under is 11.5. I have them at 12 games, and the only reason I have them at 12 games and maybe not 13 games or 14 games again is the slight Super Bowl hangover. And I also do have some concerns when you have a guy who touched the ball as much as Saquon Barkley. The following years for those guys usually tends to go off a little bit.
Unless your name is Derrick Henry. That's the only exception.
Also,
unless and even then, like the sheer amount of touches that he had last year by comparison, like those guys sometimes tend to fall off the following year, whether it's injury or anything that can happen. And with a guy like Saquon, he's obviously built like a truck, but he has a little bit of an injury history and touched the ball a lot. And so that's really like the only notes I even have for the Eagles because it's the freaking Eagles. And again, like this is what you would try to build in like a Madden dynasty when you're playing a video game and they actually have it on the field, which feels so unfair. They're, I think, to me, still like the favorite to come out of the NFC to host the NFC in the Super Bowl. But I have them at 12-5, still hitting that over under, but a little less than last year's 14 wins. Grant, what are you thinking about the Eagles?
I don't know what I nothing to add. I mean, I think I know the reason why we talk about the depth is because other teams are stupid and let players like Jahad Campbell fall to them at like pick 31. And that happens
Hmm.
every stinking year. Every year that we have recorded this show has been like, why is that guy here? Why is that guy? Oh, yep, Howie Roseman just did it because other teams are stupid and
Best
don't.
linebacker in the nation, and you just let the Eagles
The
have
rich
like,
get richer. The rich get richer because teams don't understand that it's everyone else against them. Like that's how it should be
Hmm.
viewed. It's like you should draft play. They should be handcuffing the Eagles. Be like, no, we're gonna take this guy so Howie Roseman doesn't have him.
well,
Um,
and just top on top of that before we finish off with this division here. They get rid of C.J. Gardner Johnson to Houston, right? And then the second round they pick up one of the best safeties in the country from college in Makuba. Like you're just like,
Yep.
what is going on? Like
no, they
how do they do this?
no, and
How do
that
they do this?
that's the formula. You pay offense and you draft defense. That's the way to do
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
and that's the way they've
Yep.
been doing it. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I don't
And
disagree.
Nolan
I
Smith,
think the Eagles.
Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Jahad Campbell. Like you go down the Cooper DeJean.
Quinion Mitchell,
Yep.
like
Thank
those
you.
are
It's like the entire all pro like defense is like sitting right here.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
unfair.
Yeah,
And they're like, yeah, we're not going to pay defenders. You know who's been on this team for 6 years on this defense? No one.
Yep.
No one.
and they
Like they
and
literally just let guys walk.
they bullied one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time on the biggest stage.
You know who just didn't sign their best cornerback, and they've done this now 2 times in a row, let go of their premier cornerback? The Chiefs. Good
Yep.
teams don't pay anything that's not an elite pass rusher to stay on their team. They just don't do it. In teams that do sign those corners or those safeties or whatever, or linebackers in free agency, don't have to usually pay because the market isn't there, or they go to a bad team. Those are one of the two things. Like they're either going to go to a good team that's going to pay them a decent salary, that their hometown discount the Chiefs or the Eagles were asking for, they didn't want to do. But it's just hilarious how good they get with defense and how much they are just hosing everybody else. By the way, the Roseman detail of the week, I was saving this for today. He traded to get Johnny Mechie from to the Texans this last week, gave up a tight end. Yesterday, the Texans let go of that tight end. He got Johnny Mechie for free.
that's crazy.
Literally, their evaluation talent is phenomenal.
I do want to finish with one warning to Eagles fans. You let go of your offensive coordinator. You have Kevin Patullo is your new offensive coordinator. It's from the inside, but the last time the Eagles let go of their offensive coordinator, they struggled.
Yep.
And Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. And in the moment, when you need him, he's phenomenal. But he struggles with the new offensive coordinator. So you might watch out for that. And I understand that 12 win might be like the ceiling here because of that offensive coordinator need. So just watch out for that, Eagles fans. New offensive coordinators make a difference because your head coach is not an offensive guy. So
Well, that's it for
It's a
our
deal.
NFC East. We kind of went into it with this understanding. I was a little bit hopeful that Jameson might just convince himself the Redskins could sneak it away. But I do understand the age of that
The Eagles
team
are too
dictates.
good. Eagles are too good. As much as I hate them, they're just too good.
much depth. Too
So
much depth.
we don't predict a lot of movement here and where everybody falls in terms of what happened last year. But watch out for those Giants as they continue to improve. Watch out for the basement that the Cowboys are about to fall into. I hope
Celebrate
because we hate
Celebrate
these
it.
guys.
Celebrate it. Enjoy it.
But that
He's
division is reloaded and ready to go for the season. If one of your favorite teams is in there, I hope it's the Redskins or the Eagles. That'll be a little more fun for you. But that's it for the NFC East today. We're going to continue on in our series. I go breaking down each division here this week. And so continue to join us. This is Sportsify.